Hi everyone, welcome to Shelf Control. I'm Norm, and today I'm going to do another video of a game that you won't see on this channel.
Another one!
There's a reason why you won't be seeing a review of this game on our channel. This was one that was kickstarted back in 2014. I'd just gotten into the hobby a few years prior, got into Kickstarter.
You realize that's the beginning of the end.
This one came out in 2014, and it's called Myth, and it's a dungeon crawl kind of game, and this was so appealing to me.
Oh, in the movies they call this foreshadowing.
Me and my friends, we were playing some Dungeons and Dragons at the time.
Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt!
The person who was DMing at the time, he left. The group kind of fell apart with the Dungeons and Dragons. And this seemed really cool.
Bam, double foreshadow, 8 shadow.
It had a bunch of different classes.
Guess which class I signed up for.
Every class would play a little bit different. The archer would have cards with arrows that they would keep in their inventory and be able to use, and things like that. And you would have map tiles, and basically it's a dungeon crawl kind of thing. Each map, when you played it out, would generate. It would tell you what to put out, where to put a nest, what monsters to put out, and treasure tiles and stuff.
Where is the treasure?
It seemed like a really cool replacement for the D&D. We could bust this out and play it. It had a loot system where you had a bag with white, blue, green, and orange.
And red and yellow and green and brown
Tiles that you pulled out. So when you looted something, you'd reach in there and maybe more likely than not, you'd get a common item. But you could get a rare or even uncommon, rare, or even higher, and use that, and then you'd level up your skills as you're playing. So it seemed really cool. Tons of minis. There's the game comes with. Let me put the cover back on so I can read this. 41 plastic miniatures is what it says, and one boss, I think. But I had gotten so many upgrades for it. This thing is just packed full of minis, the different bosses and different types. I got the robots to go with it, and all this stuff, and I was super excited. I got the quest expansions, the item expansions. I really can't say how much I ended up paying for this.
I'm afraid to look.
When I looked on Kickstarter, it just had my initial pledge of I think it was like $140, $170. But if memory serves me right, when I got all the different kinds of monsters, and I got the board expansion as well, all the expansion bits to this, I want to say that it was over $400 that I spent for this.
And that's what you wanted to say?
That isn't exactly what I wanted to say.
And was so excited waiting for it to show up. And then it showed up, and the rule book was so hard to figure out. Things didn't make sense. So we would sit down and we would try to play it, and then something would happen. It would be like, what do we do in this situation? The little scenario calls for this to trigger, but what does that mean? Is there a token for that? And while play of the heroes, as much as we could understand it, was interesting. I really liked the card play, and the way that the boss triggers their turns, the enemies trigger their turns, is almost like every card would have a threat value of like 0 to 2 maybe, and they would have to be a threat tracker. And so as you played cards that were more powerful, that would move the monster up, and once they hit certain spots, then the monster would take their turn. And so if you took a bunch of tiny actions, it slowed down how often it would be hitting back at you. And if you took the big swings, then it was swinging back much faster, and that was really neat. But it was so hard to play, and it like sat for the longest time. This was a really good lesson for me.
I know these are expensive, but the lesson is priceless.
Because when this game first came out, they didn't have like campaigns. It was basically you would decide to play, pick your character, and then you would flip over a map, and then the map would tell you what spawns on it, and then when you left, it would tell you to pick a different size map, and you would just pick one of those and put it out, and then it would tell you what spawned on it, and you would go through until I think you went through 3 maps, and then you were done, and the game was over. And I suppose you could have carried your characters over from game to game with the items that you looted and things like that, but if you're doing that, then you're pretty much playing with the same people all the time. And I can't recall, but I don't remember that there was any kind of scaling to where if you had a bunch of rare items that the enemies would scale along with that with you. So we found that playing this game was pretty much, you would play through, you'd draw a rare item, be like, awesome, I got this rare item, and you'd play through the rest of the scenario, and then at the end of the game, you would just throw everything back, reset back down to nothing, because you didn't know if you were going to be playing with the same group of people, if you were going to play with the same character, or anything like that. And so I found that skirmish type games like this, if you're going to give me rare items and things like that during the game, I kind of need a continuing story. This didn't hold me, where it was like, okay, I'm going to reset back down to 0 and then play again. And so there was no continuing story to carry me along. A few years after that, they came out with a 2.0 rule set. So I got the 2.0 rules. I can't remember if I had to pay $15 to get this, but it also came with replacement cards that changed the iconography and everything to go with this. So it's they did come up with an upgrade pack for people who got the first edition that replaced a lot of the cards, and it was $15 shipped, I think, maybe, if it wasn't free. And so I went ahead with the $15 for the 2.0.
Oh! Got me again!
And by this time, they'd also come out with some campaign expansions where you would actually play through a story and continue on. And I thought that was neat, but I wasn't going to throw good money after bad in hopes that this would become what I wanted.
I cannot be your fool again.
And so I just went with the 2.0 rules to see if I liked the game with the 2.0 rules, if it was easier to play, easier to table, easier to understand. And so I got that, and for the longest time didn't do anything with it.
1,000 years have passed.
And by this time, let's see, this was 2014, 2017 is when Gloomhaven came out. And so I got the second printing of that, and Gloomhaven was what I wanted this to be. And so it wasn't until maybe a year or two ago that I was like, you know what, I got the 2.0 stuff. Let me go through, swap things out, and try it. And so I went through and I swapped all the cards out. It turned out I had a bunch of cards that I didn't even know what they were for. There were items that were like quest rewards that weren't referenced in any of the other cards. I had to go online and ask people, and they're like, oh yeah, if you don't have this, then those don't work. And so eventually I got everything to the 2.0 and set it up on the table and was going to play through just to refresh myself on how to play.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Got to a point where it's like, I don't know how this works, and was looking through the rule book.
Don't sneak and do this to me again.
And honestly just gave up. Was just like, you know what, I'm going to put it in the box. This game's not for me.
You've bled me long enough.
Gloomhaven is the game for me. If you've seen our video on that, then you know that. And so I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to take the time to figure out how to play this with the 2.0 rules, play through, teach it to Lisa and some of my other friends to actually play it so we could do a review of it.
I couldn't do that to her.
And I don't think it's fair for me to do a review of this game, first edition with the 2.0 rules without the other stuff. I keep getting emails, so there was issues with the company that first made this. They were having money problems, and so they were bought by somebody else, and that somebody else is fulfilling their stuff. And according to the emails, it sounds like people are starting to get the stuff with the new expansions, with the campaigns and things like that. And so, I think that's great that the people who enjoy this game are getting those campaigns and things that they were wanting. But I think it's too late for me. I think my initial exposure to Myth kind of poisoned the well, and I'm just not interested in going back.
They had their chance.
But I also feel like I can't give this a negative review without actually like getting in and playing it and doing the campaigns and things like that.
And I'm not gonna do it.
I had a rough time with it. The people getting the newer stuff coming, hopefully they have a much better time with it than I did and enjoy it. I'm sure there are people out there who will enjoy the skirmishes, plus they do have those campaigns. So anyways, this was an expensive lesson for me to learn. If I did spend $400 on this stuff, oof, then it was a pretty expensive lesson for me to learn that not everything that looks great is going to be great.
Like what you're doing right now.
And not everything that I think looks great is going to be great for me. And I also learned that if a dungeon crawl type game where you're just doing a skirmish and then you pack it up doesn't really appeal to me as much as the continuing stories do, the Gloomhaven type stuff. So this game is going to be leaving the collection, but you're not going to see it on this channel. So anyways, what are your thoughts on Myth? Have any of you gotten in on the first printing like this? This really taught me with Gloomhaven. I actually waited until the second Kickstarter for that one to really get some reviews of the first printing and how it was. And so it kind of once bitten, twice shy kind of thing. Any of you getting the new stuff, the campaigns? How is it? The number of minifigs that were in this is just crazy. I'll probably take this to the used bookstore to try and see what they'll give me in trade value for it. And I could see somebody picking this up just for the minis. Tons of rats, skeletons, robots. There's all worms. There's all kinds of minifigs in here that would be great for somebody's D&D campaign. So, anyways, I've talked a little bit too long about a game you're not going to see on this channel.
What? No.
So we'll end it here. If you are a fan of what we're doing here, going through our collection, deciding what to keep and what to give away, then give us a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we're here, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.